Alright, so we're going to start off with what you need. Your ruler, scissors, 2 different pens, and next example I'm going to be using 3 different pieces of paper. One has blue, one has red, yeah. So you need your measurements, and those measurements will include your bust, I'll be using mine, so 32, your waist, 28, your shoulder width, which for me is 13 inches, and your arm length, which for me is about 21 inches. Yes, I'm very small. So this is kind of for a best jacket tutorial, and you can modify it as you see fit. This one's going to be for Simon from Gurren Lagann. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to kind of sketch out from memory, or as best you can, what the outfit looks like. Seaman has a jacket that has 2 different cuffs on each side, and then it kind of, the front is what I'm drawing right now, so it kind of curls out, and then the back is this odd, if you've ever seen one of those jackets that has like 2 tails in the back, that's what his jacket looks like, only it's very long and goes about to your knees. So yeah. So sketch it from memory. It doesn't need to look perfect or accurate. This is just kind of the base idea you need to go off of for your design. So after that, I'm going to kind of explain to you what a shirt looks like, you know, in the basic most manners. Your front of your shirt is going to kind of look like a tank top. And then your sleeves are going to fit into that, and they're going to kind of look like a really funny P, because that has to sew into each other. It doesn't really look like a P, but in this example it does, so just go with it. His cuffs are a separate piece of fabric, so I'm going to do that separately. And then you're just going to kind of, right now I'm trying to think of how to draw the back of it. So you start off with your collar and your shoulders. You're going to do your sleeves, and then you're going to bring it down. Since mine looks kind of like a twin tail, that's kind of what I'm going to draw here. Again, it's not symmetrical, it's the basic idea. It doesn't need to look exact. He has a star in the back, so I'm going to draw that in. This is just the basic idea without, you know, anything attached. His jacket has that front cuff, and there's a blue thing in the back, so yeah. Another option for your front pieces is it could be 2 separate pieces, where you have your sleeve and your neck. So that's the right side, and this is the left side, where your neck joins together, and then it's going to separate out, and there's your sleeve, and there's your sleeve. And that's for 2 separate pieces, which might be easier to do. And there's my long piece that'll go around, which will be its own different. That's a whole little thing together, because I do it, I think, differently than what people would think. And so finally I'm going to draw you what a sleeve looks like, which, if you look at a sleeve of one of your jackets or shirts, you'll see that there's a shoulder side where it looks kind of like a T, and there's a shoulder front and a shoulder back, and the front is the side that goes over your chest and your belly, and the back goes over your back with your shoulder blades. So there's a seam vertically, and then there's a horizontal seam where the sleeve attaches, and you need to keep that in mind. There's not usually a seam on the top of your sleeve, so you want to keep that in mind whenever you're sewing and cutting. So for this example, I took blue colored pencil and I put it on one side of the paper and another on the other side of the paper. So you're going to do inside out, which is labeling the inside and out. Since I'm using paper, I want this to be really clear. So the inside is the blue, which actually will be the outside of the outfit, and the outside that we'll be working with is actually going to be the inside of the final product. So starting with your inside-outside piece, you're going to have the inside, which will be blue. You're going to fold that together, and this is what your fabric looks like whenever you buy it. It's already folded together. So you're going to want to make sure that's a really nice, sharp fold whenever you work. Ta-da! So there's the blue, and that's going to be on the inside as I work. So I'm going to fold over half of the side and half the other side. Think of those 3-panel poster boards used for science dioramas and stuff. Ta-da! Okay, so inside here, where your original crease was, that's going to be like your middle line of your back. Or at least it's going to be in my case, because that works for me, but yeah. Ta-da! Middle line. Okay, so returning to your folded piece, you're going to first of all decide where your shoulders are, which should be that, because the shoulders need to sew together, and I found that it works best if you actually sew them together. It doesn't work if you don't. So you're going to make a cutout for your sleeve, draw your little half circle there, and this needs to actually join up with the shoulder because that's just where it sits. And horizontally there, that measurement is going to be from wherever the sleeve ends to the inside of wherever the fabric is going to be. Think your collarbone or the middle of your body on the front. That's the width that you want right there. Be sure to have a curved down V part for your shirt to sit on your body. If you look at your t-shirts and stuff, there's always a V or a wide circle swoop for your head to fit through, so the fabric sits properly on your body. Think this in a 3D manner. So here's going to be your waistline on the garment. Up here is going to be your bust line, which is usually a few inches below where your sleeve ends. If that, sometimes it's right next to where the sleeve ends. And down here is the hip, and that's going to be the front swoop edge. So I had trouble thinking about how to cut this because Siemens jacket is unique in terms of its tail ends in the back. So I'm just going to do it as if it was a pattern piece. And that means you cut like that. That's just the front cut, as you can see. So now we're going to work on the back a little bit. Cut the neck and cut out the sleeve area. This is totally out of proportion, if you can't tell, but I'm doing it as examples. So there's your front piece right there on the left. So now we're going to go to the back. First of all, decide where your bust line is, because in this example that'll discern where so yeah, there's your little back. You need to decide where your hip is and how far up the tail end needs to be, and then you're going to shape that to the shape that you want. I'm going to go kind of swooped it back, then have it come up a little bit. So here's my star. Ta-da! And then I'm going to cut this out. Now if you have fabric pieces you can make a scrap mock of, do it after you have your paper mock. If you have paper mock that is the size that you need, then work with that. And I realize that back doesn't look exactly the way I want it to, but I was just doing it for rush purposes. So this part's going to be your sleeve. And the way your sleeve sits on your angle of your body really matters. So here's your fold of your fabric, and you're just going to decide initially where your sleeve is going to be. Now I don't like the angle that's sitting at, so I'm going to change it. Get it to meet up again. There's my new angle. Make sure I mark that. Then I'm just going to do kind of a mock sleeve shape. Alright, so cut that out. And there's your sleeve shape. And you're going to go ahead and this little line, that's where you're going to seam them together. So number one rule make sure as you do this that you keep all of the inside pieces as inside and all the outside pieces as outside. I had accidentally cut so that the blue was showing instead of the red, so keep that in mind on the universal. So flip that back over, redraw your seams, and draw your seams for your shoulder as well. There you go. Another thing is you want to decide the swoop in the back, which is going to be a softer angle than the swoop in the front.